Hello friends, welcome once again. Today we are going to learn about the anatomy of the lungs. Please like, share and subscribe my channel too. So as we all know that lungs is one of the very important organ of our body. It is also known as a vital organ. So whenever we learn about the respiratory system, it is divided into upper and the lower respiratory tract. So the lung comes in the lower respiratory tract. So this is how actually our lungs look like originally. As you can see, it is of pink color, soft and spongy. So lungs is one of the organs of respiration. It is soft, elastic, spongy tissue and pink in color. It is a part of the lower respiratory tract. It is of conical as well as pyramidal shape. The right lung weighs approximately 700 gram and the left lung weighs around 650 gram. So our right lung is more large compared to the left lung. The main function of lung is to exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and this process is known as oxygenation. So as we can see in this picture that our lungs is protected in the rib cage. So lungs are surrounded by sternum. So here you can see this is the sternum. Sternum is also known as a breastbone, and the rib cage in the front and in the back side it is the vertebrae, which is the backbone. Now this bony cage helps to protect the lungs and the other organs in our chest. For example, our heart is also present in our chest. The lungs has the following parts, that is an apex, base, three borders and three surfaces. So first we will see where is the apex. So this superior part you can see here, this is known as the apex, and the lower part is known as a base. We have two lungs, that is the right lung and the left lung. Apart from that, you can see there are different parts are there in this lung. For example, the lobes are there, the fissures are there, and there is a cardiac notch. The right and the left lung do not have an identical lobular structure. The right lung has a three lobes, that is the superior, middle and inferior. And these lobes are divided each other by the two fissure, that is the oblique fissure that runs from the inferior border of the lung in a superior posterior direction until it meets the posterior lung border, and the horizontal fissure which runs horizontally from the sternum at the level of the fourth rib to meet the oblique fissure. The left lung contains superior and inferior lobes which are separated by a similar oblique fissure. So in this structure, we can see that superior lobe, middle lobe and inferior lobe. So three lobes are present in the lungs. And here in the left lung, two lobes are there. That is the superior lobe and the inferior lobe. Now, here you can see the superior and the middle is divided by a fissure, and that fissure is known as a horizontal, as it is horizontal in shape. And as you can see, this shape is also known as a oblique shape. So this fissure is known as a oblique fissure. So here we can see upper lobe, middle lobe and lower lobe, and in the left side upper lobe and the lower lobe. There are three surfaces in the lungs, that is the mediastinal, diaphragmatic and costal surface. So the mediastinal surface of the lung faces the lateral aspect of the middle sternum, and the lung hilum is located on this surface. Hilum is the space from where the arteries, veins goes inside. Then diaphragmatic surface. So it forms the base of the lungs and it rests on the dome of the diaphragm and has a concave shape. The costal surfaces are smooth and convex and it faces the internal surface of the chest wall. It is related to the costal pleura which separate it from the ribs and the innermost costal muscles. So we have to remember the three surfaces. Okay, so the side surface is known as the costal surface. The lower surface is known as the diaphragmatic surface, and this surface This surface, you have to remember that this surface is known as a mediastinal surface. Now the next is the border. So three borders are present in the lungs. That is the anterior border, inferior border and posterior border. So the interior border is formed by the convergence of mediastinal and the costal surface. The inferior border separates the base of the lung from the costal and the mediastinal surface. And the posterior border is a smooth and rounded. It is formed by the costal and the mediastinal surface meeting posteriorly. On the left lung, the anterior border is marked by a deep notch created by the apex of the heart, which is also known as the cardiac notch. So in this figure, we can see that where is the cardiac notch. So here you can say this is the cardiac notch. Now, the vasculature. So, the lung is supplied by the pulmonary arteries as well as the pulmonary veins. So, the deoxygenated blood is supplied to the lungs through the pulmonary arteries, which are two in number. So, that's why it is written here paired. And once the blood has received oxygenation and the process of oxygenation is completed in alveoli, it leaves the lungs via four pulmonary veins. So, each lung has a two pulmonary veins. The bronchi, lung roots, visceral pleura, and the supporting lung tissue require an extra nutritive blood supply, and this is delivered by bronchial arteries, which arise from the descending aorta. Now, this is very important thing that how this whole lungs is further divided and also known as the tracheobronchial tree. So the trachea is divided into the main bronchus, that is the right side as well as the left side. After that, the main bronchus is divided into the lobules, and that's why it is known as a lobar bronchus. After the lobar bronchus, it is further divided into segment and known as a segmental bronchus. This segmental bronchus is further divided into bronchioles, and this bronchioles divided into the alveolar duct and then the alveolus. Alveolus is the main area where the gases exchange take place. So, the respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct and alveolus, this comes in the passage where gases exchange actually take place. So, these are known as the respiratory airway. While up to the trachea and the bronchioles and respiratory bronchioles, there is no gases exchange, only the air is passing. So that's why this is known as a conducting airway or the passages of air conduction. Apart from that, we must know that the lungs is covered under a pleura cavity. So you can see here it is under the pleura cavity. Now the pleura cavity is divided into two layers, that is the visceral pleura and the parietal pleura, and in between the space is known as a pleural cavity. Now this pleural cavity or pleural space contains a small amount of fluid, about 10 to 20 ml, and it is very important to know that this is the normal value and it must be present. So pleural fluid is about 10 to 20 ml, and it has a low protein concentration which is about less than 1.5 gram per deciliter. Thank you.